On today's episode of Audit Austin Code Compliance, I'd like to share with you my observations and opinions of how a case was handled at 508 Brazos Street. The code inspector in question is, again, Troy Collins. We've done several videos on him, and this is yet just another example of poor documentation and, in fact, falsifying one's case log. This first complaint came in October the 10th of 2014 concerning no sticker on an elevator. The elevator was broken, causing a hazard. It was the Littlefield garage. The complainant's name is Jessica Wright, and a phone number is given. This is a big problem. First off, they are told do not put the name of the complainant in the case log. This results in retaliation from the property owner. But unfortunately, he didn't put in the property owner. He says it's not recorded. And again, this is Troy Collins. This is the only piece of paper I have for this one here. There are no photos, no emails, nothing to support his statement. Again, it was turned in on the 10th. It took him 7 days to go out and talk to anybody. And it says, Troy C. talked to Lucy. She stated the problem was fixed, and he closes his case file. We don't know who Lucy is. He should have properly stated, talk to Ms. Lucy Jones, who is the property manager. He didn't do that. As far as I know, he reached into his magic hat, pulled out a name, put it in his case log. The complainant's name was Jessica. He never stated he talked to Jessica. He never stated he visited the site to look at it. He took somebody by the name of Lucy's word that the problem was fixed, and he closed his case. There was no investigation done here. If there was, it's not documented. If you don't document it, it never happened. This is a form, a government record, and again, he has just pencil whipped his case. The one that really comes to mind here is, again, the same address. Now he's got the property owner listed. This was back in September of 2016. A car went through the wire barricades and actually was suspended when the rear tires got caught up in those wires. The owner self-evacuated. It says the complaint date is the 14th. Again, this is a problem. The accident happened on September the 9th of 2016. The complaint was broken cables. Troy was dispatched when the 911 call came in. He was an after-hours inspector, and so he was dispatched. He says he was assigned on the 14th. He was actually assigned on the 9th. He does say on 9/9/16, again, poor format, found a vehicle hanging on the side of the building due to vehicle running off the roof, parking, and breaking through the barrier cable system. He states on 9/14 he sent a notice of violation. He closed the case on 10/27/16. Okay? Let's look at all the timelines here and start looking at some documents. He does state that a permit was pulled under the Littlefield address with a letter from the engineer. We're going to start with the very top. And he wasn't assigned on the 14th. He was assigned on the 9th. Let's look at some of his photos real quick. Again, he's taken several photos dated September the 9th. His photos say September the 9th, but he says he wasn't assigned till September the 14th. Great. He got there 5 days before he was assigned and took a series of photos. Again, you can see the barricade systems here. Here's the vehicle that was suspended when it was finally lowered to the ground. His photos are out of order. You can see the upper parking garage here where most likely the vehicle went through either at this spot or this spot. The cables are completely stretched out. What he failed to show you was the end of the cables where the anchors broke loose. These columns here are part of the structural members of the building, and the cables just feed right on through. They're attached at both ends. He failed to show you those. Here's one attachment point here. You can see where one of them is out. The other side he fails to show you. He shows you cables on the ground. Again, a distant photo. Here's a car. Here's the car being lowered down. Here. in the photos. Here you see a ground shot where the car went through the barricade. This is very important. This garage doesn't have any type of material on these sides here. These barricades are open. We have laws concerning second floor apartment complexes for grading so children cannot walk off the patio, but yet these parking garages are wide open and any child could walk away from their parents and walk right off the end of this building. The notice of violation is actually dated on September the 15th, but yet his case log shows that he sent it on the 14th. The recommended resolution is to obtain a structural engineer's letter and report for the cable system and concrete slab, make repairs within 30 days. Now, I've got a copy of all the emails, and I don't know who made that recommendation. I have no emails to or from the building department. I don't know how he came up with this, but that's exactly what happened here. Here's a letter from MJ Structures, which is an engineering firm, to the owners of the building, stating that on September the 9th, the barrier cables on the west side of the 9th floor level of the parking garage structure were damaged by a vehicle impact and have since been repaired by Blue and Associates to restore the building to its pre-damaged state in accordance with provisions prescribed in the 2012 existing building code. Damaged cable and anchor ends were removed and replaced with new cables and anchors. But what we don't have here is we don't have any proof that a city engineer looked at this. So, why is this important? Well, this parking garage accident that happened September the 9th of 2016 was just the first one. A second accident happened on July the 13th of 2017 where a woman drove her car off the 7th floor space. She mistakenly took the gas pedal for the brake, hit the building across the alley, clipped a car that was passing through the alley beneath, and landed her BMW upside down. These parking cables obviously do not work. Troy Collins falsified his case logs by stating that a permit was pulled underneath the Littlefield address. There was no permit pulled. He doesn't even get his timelines correct. Once again, Troy Collins has just closed his case log so he can pat himself on the back and show his supervisors that, boy, do I do a good job. The public was fooled when they believed that Troy Collins had the authority to do all these things. He never reached out to anybody at Planning and Review. A structural engineer from the city side never looked at this. This is a big problem when we have city inspectors who have no certification, no qualifications for this type of thing, going out and signing off on a job, and then you have a business who is pressured and losing money every day to get this thing resolved. And then 10 months later, another accident happens. We have showed time and time again, he falsifies his case logs, doesn't fill out his reports properly. Why does the management at Austin Code continually cover for incompetent employees? More importantly, the woman that 10 months after Troy Collins closed this case accidentally drove her BMW off the 7th story parking garage and landed upside down in the alley. Don't you think she would have probably been okay had Troy Collins taken the foresight to contact somebody at City Engineering and go, hey, this is beyond my capabilities here. What do we need to do? But instead, Troy Collins said, no one's ever going to look at this. He just closed his case, and this is the result.